Labour are calling on Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss to lay out exactly how they'll tackle the spiralling energy bill crisis, which the opposition have branded a national emergency.
Well, Labour's Ed Miliband joins us now. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Let's look at the cost of this scheme first, because it is a substantial amount of money that's going to be spent doing this. The Institute for Fiscal Studies has said the plan probably needs to run for a year to be able to work. I know Keir Starmer has said 6 months initially, but if it runs for that year, £60 billion, that's almost as much as furlough, isn't it? That's a huge cost.
Well, Charlotte, let me just explain what we've done and what we've set out, which is we have said we will freeze energy bills for 6 months because we believe that the emergency that families are facing, that your viewers are facing, is such that we cannot allow £4,000 energy bills in January, £3,500 in October. That is an emergency. We'd have more than 50% of people plunged into fuel poverty, not just those on benefits, but those in the middle of the income scale. That's why we've set out a fully funded plan, and we've shown exactly how we'll pay for it, including with a windfall tax, an enhanced windfall tax on those big oil and gas giants that are making billions of pounds. And what I'm calling for is Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss to say tonight in their debate, do they agree with our plan? I believe this is the only sensible way forward for the country. If they don't agree, what are they going to do? They can't wait. This is the biggest issue the country faces. They want to be the Prime Minister. The cap is going to be going up on August the 26th. Direct debits will follow. We deserve answers from them as the people who are trying to lead this country.
But Mr. Milliband, Keir Starmer was on yesterday saying he spent some time coming out with a plan, despite Gordon Brown and Martin Lewis and various other people saying, well, where is the opposition here? Finally, he showed up, and it's costed for 6 months. This energy crisis, as you've probably correctly called it, is going to last longer for 6 months than 6 months. You must be clear about that. Why has he only costed it for that limited period of time? Where's the money going to come from?
Well, Rob, what we've done is we've looked at the crisis in front of us. Now, what we've shown is that we are willing to act at scale, given the scale of the crisis. And when we know what is going to happen in April, because we can't be sure what the April figures are going to be, we will come forward with another fully funded plan. And your viewers should be in no doubt that the Labour Party will deal with this at the scale that is required. That's what we've shown with our announcement yesterday. And, you know, I want to make this point. The money we're paying in our bills, it's not disappearing into thin air. It's going to the oil and gas giants, many of them based in the North Sea. And the big question in politics today is, are you willing to tax those giants and use that money to help families that are struggling? Now, the Conservative Party has shown a massive unwillingness to do that. Rishi Sunak was dragged kicking and screaming to a windfall tax. Liz Truss opposes windfall taxes in principle. That is the big divide in politics. Are you willing to stand up for the British people, or are you standing up for the oil and gas producers?
OK. Are you happy with the details of how this is going to work, though? Because it is going to benefit everybody, isn't it? You know, it means that the most wealthy will get this help as well, and it means that it isn't targeted on those that really need it. It isn't targeted on small businesses. You know, there are people that fall through the gaps because of it.
Well, I disagree with that, Charlotte, and let me explain why. We could have said, we'll just help those on benefits. But there are going to be millions of people watching your programme who aren't on benefits and who are saying, I don't know how I'm going to find £4,000 for my energy bill. I had a midwife in my constituency write to me. Her husband works. She obviously works. She said, I'm at my wit's end as to what I can do. And it's for people like her and millions of others that we have said, this isn't, of course we've got to protect those on benefits, but the scale of this emergency goes much greater. And just get our heads around this fact, that if this price rise goes ahead, we will have well over half the population in what is defined as fuel poverty.
It's a matter of time,
in
Mr. Milliband. It's also about bringing down inflation. That's really how you've packaged this whole thing. That has to be extended to small businesses as well. Otherwise, they're going to pass those prices on to the rest of us. That would include people going on holiday and so on and so forth.
Well, Rob, that's why in the plan we've set out, and we did this in the plan in January too, £1 billion of help for those businesses that are most vulnerable to these energy costs. And this is a really important point that you're making. And I see it with steel, with ceramics, with those small businesses that you've talked about. And that's why, as part of our fully funded, fully costed plan, we've set out that money to help businesses as well. So yes, this is a widespread emergency. Yes, we focused on families, but you're right about businesses, and that's catered for in this plan.
You've been critical, rightly so, of these companies who will not get under control, right? Billions of pounds in profit. It's not just them, it's the water company as well. And they're failing. Leaks everywhere. And those costs pass on to the consumer. In the water company cases, as you'll be aware, there are millions, nearly 30 million handed out in bonuses, right? These are natural monopolies. In the past, you have been quietly supportive of nationalisation in circumstances where these independent so-called companies can't get their house in order and don't pass on the benefit to the consumers. As a Labour Party, aren't you looking for that clear blue water to say to the public, look, if this catastrophe isn't solved, we're going to take you back into public hands? That's a policy which you've supported in the past, isn't it?
Let me set out sort of clearly where I stand on this. There's the immediate emergency that we face, and I don't believe public ownership is the answer to this immediate emergency. So if you take the energy sector, bulb energy is now in the public sector. Rob, they're going to have to be subsidised just like the private sector. So I don't think public ownership is a solution to this crisis. But of course you're right that there are longer-term issues about how we deal with failing systems across water, across rail and across energy. And we as a party are focused on how we do that, and we'll be coming out with our plans before the election. And I'll tell you what, I think it's the right combination of regulation, because regulation's been a disaster. In no country in the world have more than 30 energy companies gone bust. And yes, there will be a place for common ownership as well. So it's a combination of those things to make this work and to make these utilities work for the public.
Labour's been very critical about the government being missing in action at the moment. We had Sir Keir Starmer was off on holiday. We were waiting for an announcement from him, weren't we? You yourself, I can't help noticing, look rather suntanned this morning. Perhaps you've been away on holiday.
This is what I naturally look like, actually, Charlotte.
Is it OK for MPs
it's my continental European heritage.
Okay, is it OK for MPs to take holidays at a time of crisis when people are, are looking for answers, they're looking for solutions?
Of course. Look, of course, just like families across the country, MPs can take holidays. The question is not whether you take holidays. The question is whether you've got answers to the challenges that the country is facing. And, I heard Keir Starmer on your programme yesterday. What he's done, in collaboration with me and Rachel Reeves, is we have come up with a plan. And I think that's what the public want from us. They don't want MPs to just simply cancel their holidays. They want us to answer the questions that they're facing. And that's what the Tory leadership candidates have to do tonight.
We've got to wrap it up there. But thanks very much, Ed Miliband. Good to see you this morning.